All right, so what we're gonna do today, is look at the Spellbreak Chapter 2 launch trailer. Ooh, baby. We're gonna look at the launch trailer and react to it a little bit. Obviously, you know, if you guys are following the game at all, you'll know all the patch notes and stuff like this. I'm basically looking at this for the lore implications. Ooh, baby, because we get to see some interesting stuff. We get to see Thaddeus, obviously, Thaddy Daddy. Ooh, the captain, the leader, the head honcho of of the Vow Breakers. It's like that's our playable characters, right? And then we get to see he's directly confronted by Ferric Snowlash, that guy, the head of the Vow Keepers, which is like the enemy faction in the game. And you know, Ferric Snowlash, I think this dude, well, I mean, you'll see in the trailer, like they don't really, you know, they make him look like an evil dude. He kind of looks like Mr. Burns, a weird guy, a creepy guy. And if you've looked into the lore at all, I've discussed this in some other videos. I actually just released a video talking about Ferric Snowlash and some of his devious plots. But basically, he's a bad dude doing bad things. All that aside, let's hop in. Let's look at some of the lore stuff. First things first. We are going to see New Banehelm, baby. Look at those peaks. Those sweet, sweet peaks up there. So yeah, if you didn't know, this trailer is on the map, and you can visit this location in game. This is Banehelm. The northwestern region of the map has been completely transformed. It got a whole new setup going for it. It's not quite as big, not quite as extensive as the Bogmore updates that we got at the beginning of Chapter 1. Was it Chapter 1 or Prologue? You know, a couple months ago. Not quite as big of a location, but you know, Banehelm was never as big of a location as Bogmore. But similarly, like really good thematic texturing to a specific location on the map. Every map update they're doing now is just like sick. I can't wait for them to go through some of the other locations in the game. I think they could do a lot with like Lowland Outpost. I think could be a lot cooler of a location. Honestly, they've done some updates to Halcyon. I'd like for them to even go further with Halcyon and really flesh it out as a location, because I mean, you could make Halcyon is like this big centralized, you know, huge location. So I think they could, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here like I'm going on, but I think they can make Halcyon a really cool, intense location. And they could do some other stuff too. I think Westmar deserves an update as well. Maybe get something going on in Himwood, something like that. They've touched different areas of the map, but I'd like to see them kind of like reinvest into places like they've done with Banehelm to really make them thematically solidified. Because this place looks sick. All right, let's get into the freaking launch trailer and start to break down some of this stuff. Dope music off the bat, by the way. On this bridge, so you can go on this bridge. We got Thaddeus. We got this box.
You are nothing, Thaddeus.
This box is interesting.
Just a broken man grasping at a forgotten past.
So right away, so we saw Ferric there, right? These are some Val guards to his left and right, you know, as he's doing his creepy little monologue.
Just a broken man grasping.
There's Thaddeus. So this is Ferric Snowlash. You see what I'm saying? Where he kind of, you know, he's got this like weird, like Mr. Burns type energy, you know, the bald with like the little thing over his head. He's got this weird... this weird like amulet thing. Like what it kind of looks like a beard, dude. Like what do you... I don't know. It's just a weird looking guy. Got the book right there. So, you know, you'll also notice in this a little bit of lore is that you will see how the Vow Keepers are not to be trusted right off the bat, because they, you know, they're Vow Keepers. What the vow that they're keeping is with the Vow mandate in this world is basically like, we don't use magic. We don't use magic because magic is dangerous. It's corruptive. It's way too powerful. We stay away from it because magic is essentially evil, and the good people of the Highlands, now the Hollowlands, aren't going to engage. Well, we can already see that these Vow Keepers are, they don't necessarily hold to their truths themselves, because this dude's got a lightning gauntlet and this dude's got a fire gauntlet. These are supposedly Vow Keepers right here. These are the Vow Guard. Enforcers of the Vow mandate. They're using magic. So, you know, we can already see that these guys are not to be trusted.
At a forgotten past. past.
A forgotten past. What might this forgotten past be? We'll discover that. A little frozen alacrity trail. Let's go. Thaddeus being a badass. A vow breaker. That's an outfit in the game that was released in chapter 1. Love that. Daddy, freaking big with it. He equips the gauntlet, baby. Daddy is a stone shaper, by the way. So, I also wanted to comment here that they have said, so it's lore, it is lore true. And some people were talking about this in the chapter 2 announcement trailer as well, that we saw some of the breakers and some magic users doing stuff with their magic that we don't necessarily see like in the actual gameplay. It's actually lore approved, lore accurate. I don't know, lore accurate that the gauntlets can do more things than we actually see in the game right now, which opens up the doorway to allow for more abilities for gauntlets in the future. You know, that would be really cool if you had like a spell, a secondary spell, a sorcery, a secondary sorcery, stuff like that. So different things that you could do with the gauntlets. That might be something I think that we would see really far down the road with Spellbreak. That's nothing that we're going to see like in 2021. I don't think that's anything we're going to see, but there is a doorway for that stuff to be opening up. So when we see the breakers and magic users doing stuff with their gauntlets and using magic that we don't necessarily see in game, that's actually lore appropriate, and it's not just them like breaking the rules of their game. Like they just haven't implemented it into the actual gameplay yet, but there are, you know, you can do different things with the gauntlets, which is super cool for the future, the distant future, but for the future, that's super cool. So just to kind of point that out. Yeah, also, yo, daddy, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go, dude. And so now we see Ferric Snowlash. He's using magic too, right? Yo, when are we gonna be able to conjure our own Doritos? That's gonna be sick. Now, okay, let's go back a hot second, because Ferric flees because he's a loser. But then, yeah, what is in this chest? Well, we got a little green aura coming from it, which is interesting. I mean, like I talked about in my recent lore video, there's this idea, we're dealing with like what created the fracture. We're going to learn what created the fracture in this chapter. So I think one of the themes is going to revolve around Guile, this Sauron-like figure in the universe. We know that his vital stone was broken apart in the past. There was, you know, this epic war with Guile in the past, and his vital stone was captured, broken apart. The rumor that you see in the lore a little bit, what it's suggested at, and why this Ferric Snowlash guy really sucks, is because there's rumors that he might have been trying to reconstitute the vital stone of Guile for whatever purpose, you know, so he could use it for himself. Maybe he could like use the vital stone of Guile to gain power from it or something. It's suggested that maybe his vital stone caused the fracture, so maybe this has something to do with that. Yeah, who knows? But you know what that chest is, though, is, you know, it could be something involving that. It could also just be like more generic, just like artifacts of the land. Because if you didn't know, the whole story of Spellbreak is there was this fracture, this magical apocalyptic event. The Highlands was this thriving society on the Stormweave Plateau in the continent of Velnor. In the world of Primdall, it was this thriving continent of people, and the fracture happened. All the people had to abandon the land, and breakers are this contingent of magic users who didn't want their culture to be completely obliterated, and they didn't want to lose all of the cultural artifacts that they held. So what they've been doing is going back into the Hollowlands. They've been using their vital stones to safeguard themselves, you know, to allow, if they do get exiled or disrupted, that they can return back to wherever they keep their vital stones, and they can reform their bodies. So, you know, so we're literally not dying. You're not killing people in the Hollowlands, if you didn't know. But they're, you know, breakers are entering into the Hollowlands, and they're trying to recover artifacts of that society so that they can preserve their culture, and you know, and gain the wisdom of the ages. And you know, there was also a time before the fracture where the vow mandate, when, you know, I was talking about Snowlash, vow keepers, vow mandate, the vow mandate was much more strictly enforced when the Highlands was, you know, a culture, a society that was functioning. Now the breakers are able to go actually like break in and find the artifacts that were kept from them, so that they can actually rediscover all of that information. And like you'll see if you've been playing the game, you know, like from the weekly quests and stuff, the breakers they're trying to reclaim that knowledge, but they're also trying to reclaim that knowledge so they can sort of figure out what has happened with the fracture and the spellstorm and all that stuff. So hopefully they can, you know, figure out what happened, so maybe they can reverse the process and actually reclaim the Highlands one day. So, you know, this could be something that's like crazy lore significant. It could be like, you know, the vital stone of guile, or like an aspect of it, or whatever. It also could just be like, you know, there's a bunch of like gauntlets in there. A green glow, maybe it's some Tox gauntlets. Maybe it's some... Nah, well, we already got it confirmed. The devs said that there's no new gauntlet coming in Chapter 2. Which is kind of sad, but if any of you were holding out hope for that, they've teased it a bunch, but they confirmed even before Chapter 2 started that there's not going to be a new gauntlet. So I don't think it's going to be any sort of like green nature gauntlet or anything like that. It's probably just some, you know, generalized loot that is that they found that Ferric Snowlash was maybe trying to reclaim for himself, for his use. Fatty Daddy doing the plundering in Banehelm Academy to try to get some stuff. Ferric Snowlash was trying to steal it from him, but, you know, breakers come out on top because we're badass like that. So yeah, that's cool. I think this is the end of the trailer. You know, it goes into like gameplay stuff. There's Banehelm itself, looking freaking sexy. Music too is so good. The Spellbreak music is so good. It's Chapter 2, the fracture. Yeah, and then it just goes into the game modes and stuff. You know, there's other videos for all, you know, Dominion and the new BR stuff and all that. Some of my videos will touch on them, but you can look elsewhere for that. I wanted to talk about the lore today, and yeah, I'm hyped. That's cool, right? It's a cool setup. You got Thaddeus. We know we got Avira Emberdane is like his second in command. My hunch about this is that Thaddeus is definitely like he's gonna be like the Gandalf figure that dies. So I bet by the end of this chapter he's gone, which is sad because, you know, he cute. But I bet by the end of this chapter Thaddeus is gone and Avira is gonna take over the mantle as the head of the Vow Breakers. That'd be cool anyway. It's a cool setup. And hopefully, I don't know. I mean, we don't really know like who's second in command or anything for Ferric Snowlash. So I think that guy might stick around for a little bit. But we know that this guy Guile, it's like kind of hidden in the lore a little bit. But this guy Guile is, he's out there. He's doing some stuff, you know. So he's well, no, I mean, he's like dead or something. But I wouldn't be surprised, probably not in Chapter 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, sometime in the future we get a little bit more acquainted with this guy Guile. Or this entity, this being. It's not like a guy necessarily. But we'll get acquainted with him. And hopefully we can take down Snowlash, because that guy sucks. Hardcore. That guy sucks a lot. I don't like him. Alright. I hope that was cool. If you like this video, you can, of course, like this video. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I'm going to be doing a lot more lore videos mixed with some gameplay videos and some other just cool, fun entertainment. Adobo, speaking of lore keepers, another dude doing lore. Adobo, thanks for the freaking raid, man. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. You're good. We know this, right? All right. Have a good day, guys. Peace.